Alright, guys. Had my christening. Well, it wasn't mine. My cousin's christening. Then I just came home and just passed out. And then I literally woke up 3 minutes ago and got here to just record a video. That's how I get videos done. That's how I motivate myself. As soon as I wake up, I roll out of bed and just jump on this seat and just start doing videos. So let's start wrapping up this franchise with Jigsaw from 2017, which I'm mixed on this movie, for sure, even after a few viewings now. Now, I've been saying in all my videos for the Saw series, and especially in the last one for Saw 3D, or Saw 7, the final chapter, which it really was supposed to be, until they got a really cool pitch, for this movie. Was this worth, bringing the franchise back, instead of just leaving it as its perfect little 7 films that flow together so great? Not really. Really, not worth it. It's fun. It's a good movie, but it has a totally different feel to it. It does not look and feel like a Saw movie. It feels I don't know, overproduced or just something. It just doesn't have that dirty, gritty feel that the first 7 Saw films have. And it is kind of cool that this is, for people who haven't seen this one, I mean, this doesn't really spoil much, but that it's a prequel, in a way. People have seen it, you know what I mean? But that's interesting. I kind of like how they do that, because we have Tobin Bell back in here. And, they try to trick you pretty hard into thinking that Jigsaw is still alive. Somehow. But, and this, I'm talking spoilers from now on, like usual, but the whole thing with Logan, I feel like they just threw him in there to blanket any questions that were left over from the first 7 movies. Saying, the biggest one that I had from this last rewatch was in part 7, who were the 2 pig people with Dr. Gordon at the end, and who set up that last trap? Was it Hoffman or was it Dr. Gordon? But now any of those questions can be answered by, oh, it was Logan. Because this motherfucker's been around since the beginning. I know you haven't seen him until the 8th movie into this franchise, but trust me, he was there the whole time. And that's what I feel like they did. Making it a sequel was cool, but then I think the whole reason for it is for them to just have another accomplice to add on. And Logan's alright, he's a cool character. I just feel like it's a little forced. That his character became a Jigsaw accomplice. I just don't see it in him. You look at Hoffman, you'd be like, yeah, that motherfucker's definitely working with some shady shit. Absolutely. Amanda too. Not Logan. He just doesn't look like it works, or it doesn't look organic at all. He does not look like the type of person who would be an accomplice to Jigsaw, especially his earliest accomplice. This whole time of all the events that we've seen in the last 7 films, Logan was around, creeping around somewhere. I don't know. Well, that's probably my biggest complaints with the movie. But let's talk Jigsaw from 2017. I don't even remember who directed this, but someone did, because the movie exists. So we got the whole police chase, and we have Detective Halloran and Detective Hunt. Hunt's the black guy, right? Yeah, and Halloran's what's his name? I don't know why I can't think of this actor's name who plays Detective Halloran. Whatever. I know who he is. He's a decent actor. Pretty good in this movie, his performance too. And there's a police chase after this guy Edgar Munson, and he has a detonator or some shit. on like holding in his hand, and they get him to the rooftops, and they end up. Halloran specifically says like just shoot him in the hand, and one person, one dickhead, shoots him in the stomach, and he ends up going to the hospital into like a coma for a little bit, so they can't like investigate or interrogate him about anything. And then we see like several people, 5 people I want to say, with buckets on their head, wake up in this room with a timer and saw blades like on the back wall, so that the chains attached to the buckets over their head is attached to the wall, and it's gonna pull them towards that wall, towards those saw blades. Cool, like cool little opening trap. I like it. I mean, we've seen something like it, like in the fifth one, like almost identical, actually. But it's a cool first trap. So the saw blades, they be twirling, and they're all freaking out. Obviously, I mean, who wouldn't be in this situation? But buckets on their head with a red light, and they have to give a little bit of blood, doesn't matter how much, in order for the light to turn green, and then like the doors open up. So they're all freaking out, and then one guy ain't even waking up, which actually plays a little bit of a decent sized role in the whole reveal at the end. So this guy ain't waking up, and his body's just being dragged towards saw blades. And then like he does kind of get up at the last second, and then you just see him and then as they move into the next room, but everyone else just puts their arm out and they get cut. So they're all good. Like we got the blonde girl, she was like a purse snatcher if I remember right, or something like that. Not really attractive. The main chick, it's pretty cute. I forgot what she did wrong or something. She like smothered her baby or something like that. I know they were all like they were all criminals or something like that, or like that were involved like in cases from Halloran. That like either Halloran arrested or put in jail, or like kind of like an Eric Matthews thing from part 2. That's what I remember from the last time I saw this, which was years ago. Like at least 4 years ago or so, 5 years ago since I've seen Jigsaw. A while. So, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That these are all people that Halloran like put in jail, or like were his cases and stuff. Because we find out at the end that this is basically all just to fuck Halloran over by Logan and his whole master plan. So I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm so mixed on this movie. Like it didn't have to exist, but since it does, it's still good. But it just didn't need to exist, man. So detectives Halloran and Hunt are at the hospital. They want to question Edgar Munson. Halloran says that Munson's like a sociopathic meth head, and that he put him away twice, and they're waiting for him to wake up to see, since he was yelling all about a game starting and stuff before they shot his hand and he got shot in the chest. They need answers, and they can't get him yet because he's in like a coma possibly. Yeah, so we got Anna, the good-looking chick. Then we got the black dude. Then we have the other guy. I think they're about to give their little introductions, but I don't remember. That's it. Plus the just broken down looking blonde chick, and she's about to die anyway, because then their chains, they still have the chains on, just the garbage pails fell off off the top of them, the fucking things on their heads, they fell off. They still have chains around their neck, so then it just pulls them like closer to like into the room, like further into the room, and then the tape plays again, and it says that like, what's a life worth to you? And that one of the people there was a purse snatcher, and ended up killing somebody. And it's so obviously this blonde chick, and like they're panning through everybody, and then they get to the blonde chick, and she's like, like she knows it's her, like she knows it's like this is all her, this is all on her. I don't know, but then she has to. There's 3 syringes, and one has like a saline solution. One is the antidote, because like whoever the person that was who caused the person's death, that they didn't before they find out and we find out, he says on the tape that has been poisoned. So there's an antidote in there, a saline solution, and like some type of acid, and she has to pick the right one. And there's numbers on it, so like she can look at the numbers and like there's one that says 353, $3.53 or something like that, and like that's how much was from the woman that like died when she was grabbing a purse. I'm guessing because they show her on the floor and the money, so she only got $3.53 from that woman who died. So that would be the right one, I'm guessing, but there wasn't enough time because the chain started like bringing them up and hanging them, and she's refusing to pick. And the other dude just ends up taking all three needles and stabs her with all three of them. I would have done the same thing. Are you serious? Like this bitch is not owning up to what she's supposed to what she obviously did because she's so afraid of. I mean, I get it. Trust me. I don't want to inject myself with acid either. That's the whole big reason why she can't do it. Like she admits it and everything, but she's I can't. Like, what if it's the acid? Well, you're gonna die from poison or being hanged soon. Like so it doesn't matter. So just pick. Like you already know the dollar amount. There's a number right there, so you remembered. So you're pretty sure that's good. You should be fine. But she's not fine at all because the guy just stabs her with all three. And then it drops them immediately. How that works, I have no idea. Like, come on. These chains know to let go. That's another thing with this movie. It's a prequel, but it looks so much more advanced than anything that John Kramer's done in the previous seven movies, which is all after this, time-wise. So, I don't know. That's another thing. Like, maybe that's another reason why it doesn't have that traditional, like, grimy, dirty, soft feel to the movie. It, like, seems, like, too clean. And that might be another reason. It seems, like, too, like, upscaled. Like, way too technologically like advanced for like being the first game that Jigsaw has ever done. I don't know. It's just always felt that way to me. Like the traps, like all this stuff, like everything we see in the game. It's like this is so much more advanced and stuff, and looks so much better, and in a cleaner location, like all of that compared to any of the games he's done afterwards. So like why? Like why start so big and then just like downgrade severely? Like I don't know. That's another issue I have with this movie. But they end up not getting hung because as soon as he stabs her with the three syringes, all of their collars, their chains let go and they don't hang from the ceiling. And then while that's all happening, they find the Buckethead dude strung over a bridge, and they bring him to the morgue, which is where we meet Logan and Eleanor, the sexy assistant he has, which I have an issue with her too. Like, like a little later though. Oh, so yeah, Anna, and then Mitch is the bigger dude, and no, Mitch is the black dude, and Ryan is the bigger dude. I like all the characters. Like they're fine, and there's nothing that memorable. I do like Mitch and Ryan for sure. Like they're cool characters. Jumping just kind of to the end, twist and reveal with Logan. It's kind of cool how Logan, as the mortician here, is standing in front of and working on the victim with the like half face left because that's the person that he played in the original game that we see. And I don't know, that's kind of cool that he's the accomplice and like that he's working on like what could have been him. What could have been how his body ended up and life ended if John didn't intervene. So that's kind of cool, like seeing him in front of the screen, like talking about the body and stuff, and like that's what he could have been. That's a little cool thing thrown in. Then Ryan just stupidly, there's a door that says no exit. He goes to walk over to it, and his foot collapses through the boards, and then the cables just like tighten and like around his leg. and he is in so much pain. Like, man, this guy gives a good performance, like selling how much pain he's in during this whole scene with his leg down there. And then, cool, like how he has to. They end up going into another room, and I think what is it, grain or something starts pouring down on them, and he has to pull the lever to set himself free. And by setting himself free, it means it's gonna cut your fucking leg off. And I like how they build to it. He's really struggling with it. Like he's going down to reach the lever, then he's like, "Fuck this!" Like there's no. But then like he hears them screaming as like grain starts filling up where they are, and like gonna bury them alive. And then tools and like utensils and like weapons start falling out of the chute, and like a saw blade, like a round saw, like almost hits her in the face, or like it's pretty cool. Like it's a pretty cool whole sequence and stuff. And yeah, he ends up doing it, like luckily, and his leg just is just cut in a few pieces off of his body, and he just falls back in horror and in pain. And then the door opens, they fall out, they're fine. Cool sequence. Like I really like all of that. So then we have Carly, the beaten down looking pocket thief, pocketbook thief. Her body is thrown off the top of a building, and Halloran and Logan both are checking it out, and that she didn't die from the fall, and that she has acid. It looks really good actually when they put her on the table, and like how her whole face looks and her skin looks being melted away by the acid looks really cool. So good effects works there. There's a puzzle piece, jigsaw piece cut from her tongue, and so now they're starting to think Jigsaw is alive somehow after getting his throat cut by a power saw 10 years ago. I mean, it's a cool little mystery, like, throughout, like, I remember throughout my first watch of this, I'm thinking, alright, is this a fucking prequel? Or is John alive somehow, and then they're gonna make it ridiculous? Be like, it's John's ghost, or, like, it's something stupid. But it wasn't. Like, they went a decent route with it, like, thankfully, because that would have been so stupid. If like somehow they tried to explain how Jigsaw's still alive after a decade, like that would have been so stupid. So glad they didn't go that route. So then Halloran starts suspecting Eleanor, the hot redhead assistant, because finds out that she's been on some like dark web Jigsaw website where you can like buy like traps and like all weird sick shit, as Halloran says. And Logan starts saying like, all right, well, let's think about this, and like starts asking how come she came here to do a residency when she got an offer somewhere else, and like all this stuff to try to make you think that Eleanor has something to do with it, which she kind of does. So then Eleanor and Logan go to her little lab, she calls it, or some shit, but it's basically like a collection of all. Now, are these all replicas? Or are these, did Logan actually get to keep all of these past traps? Because we see the gun on the door trap from part 2 that shoots that idiot in the eye, like, because the other guy uses the key that says don't use this key on that door specifically, and he does. We see that door trap. We see the reverse bear trap. We see it looked like the ribcage one for Carrie when Amanda uses it on her to rip her ribs out. Looked like that one. So are these all those traps, or are these replicas that this bitch just got on her own off the deep web? Like, I'm not sure, because since Logan's been involved for 10 years now, it would make sense that he got to like clean this up. But I mean, like, how? Like, wouldn't the police like have taken all these in this evidence, these traps? So I don't know. I'm guessing they were all replicas. And during this, while she's showing it all off, and she shows off the one, and he says that like this one hasn't been in a jigsaw trap, and it turns out being the one that we see next, the cool motor one that the guy's inside, like the little fucking spinny tube, not a tube, but like, you know what I mean, like the really elaborate trap, which is like what I'm saying, like that was the trap that he had for his first game, and then we never saw anything near that. Like, technological wise, engineering wise, anything like that. Anything better than that in any of the previous movies. But he started out that high? Like, come on. Like, that's so stupid. Like, that's such a big glaring issue with this movie for me. But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it doesn't take me out of the movie that much, but it's glaring. It's definitely there. I notice it every single time. But then Hunt shows up, Detective Hunt, and he's taking pictures of Logan and Eleanor in her creepy ass fucking lab with all these traps. So that doesn't look good for either of them. Damn, man, that whole motorcycle trap, that guy's body looks absolutely annihilated when it comes out. And then I love how Ryan looks at it and he just screams like, ah! Like his body is mangled, like completely. And then the next scene, they're pulling up John Kramer's grave, but his body's not there. Edgar Munson's is, because it was just missing from the hospital. So now they're really, so who fucking dug up his grave? Like his body. Logan did that like 10 years ago? I mean, no, it's 2000. Yeah, 10 years is when they're saying he died. I don't know. I don't remember that. Like, if they explain that. I'm sure they do at the end. Because that's a glaring, like, plot hole. Like, why and when did this happen? And Munson's, like, missing a jigsaw piece from his face. So, jigsaw face. So then they go with a warrant to the lab of Eleanor and finds the body of the mangled up dude in the closet, and then Hunt comes to arrest Logan, and they're like friends, like good friends. They go like back to the war or something like that, if I remember correctly, like 15 years ago or some shit like that. And like Hunt knew Logan's wife, who passed away, and we find out later was killed by Edgar Munson, and he never got justice, was never done for it. So I like that they have a friendship between them. Like Logan, who turns out being the accomplice, and Hunt here, who's investigating this case. Like, I like their dynamic together. Like, it's pretty cool. Then they're talking, and he starts saying that it might be Halloran, might be who's doing this, that Internal Affairs have been trying to get him forever or some shit like that, and he ends up trying to say that Logan says, like, if we match the slug that hit Edgar Munson in the chest, then if it matches Halloran's gun, then we know it was Halloran who shot him in the chest. So they end up doing that, and Logan finds the slug, and it matches Halloran's gun, who has a different gun than the standard police-issued one. And it matches. So then Hunt goes to get him, to get Halloran, and Logan goes home, and then Eleanor is there. And he starts talking with her, and it's kind of weird, like, that the two of them are, like, kind of behind this, like Logan mostly, but then her as, like, an alibi. And, like, when they're together, though, they talk like they're not involved at all. It's just for what? It's just for the audience. It's just for us. So it doesn't give it away. Like, you know what I mean? There's no reason they would be putting a charade up when it's just the two of them alone somewhere. So I don't know, like, what to think of that. But I still have, like I said, an issue, a heavy issue with Eleanor. But we'll get to that at the end here. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I gotta see the end play out before I can fully comment on the Eleanor problem. But it's coming. So, plot twist. This is a prequel sequel. And we see John, we see Tobin Bell as Jigsaw here. And Ryan and Anna are the last survivors. So this was his first game. And then the body, all the police work scenes, like everything with Logan and Halloran and the bodies they're finding and everything like that, are all present day. And we don't know yet, but Logan is the one who set all that up. So it's a cool twist. Like, it's nothing like mind-blowing, because like I said, the only other option would be that John's alive somehow, which is so dumb. So they kind of had to do this. Otherwise it would have just went down that stupid territory. But I like it. Like it's cool. Just the aforementioned issues like bring this movie down for me. Like like from the original seven for sure. Like this is a big drop down for me from the first seven movies, and then even bigger drop from this to Spiral. But we'll talk about that with Spiral. So John's talking to Ryan and him. So Anna and John were neighbors, and she killed the kid. Like she smothered a kid, and then like let her husband take the fall for it. And Ryan and Anna, he ends up leaving their ticket to freedom or their key to freedom or something like that, as he holds the shotgun shell and he puts it in the shotgun, one shell, and he basically says like do the opposite of what you would normally do or something like that. And Ryan is the smart one, is saying like we don't have to shoot each other, and like Anna immediately she's like no, I have to kill you, like that's the only way. And he's like no 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 no, and then he realizes right before right before she shoots him, like do the opposite, and then realizes that the shell's in reverse, and she pulls the trigger and shoots back and blows her face apart. And then we see the flashback that John put the keys that they're chained, to into the bullet. So when he that's cool too. That's a cool little touch. So when he said like this is your key to freedom, holding the shotgun shell, there were two keys inside there, and they had to just not fire the gun, and the keys would be workable and not blown to smithereens. And then Ryan apparently he just died, because then we move on to the present day. And then during all of that, before she blows her face off, Anna, we have Logan and Eleanor heading to the same farmhouse and Halloran, and they end up seeing the rooms, the trap, and everything. And then both of them get knocked out. Eleanor disappears, and then Logan gets knocked out, or he says, and we see Halloran get knocked out. And then they wake up with the lasers around their neck, which is fucking cool, man. Like really cool with the lasers at the end of this. So then the laser cutters, the lasers turn on, they're facing the ceiling, like right by their face, all around them. And then Logan pretends to die, like, and get cut by the lasers. And then good on Halloran to notice, like, above him, the lasers turn off for a second. He looks up and he sees the damage the lasers were cutting into, like, above him. And then he looks above where Logan was, and there's no marks on the ceiling. So he's like, what? And then Logan gets up, and we find out Logan's the one who messed up John's x-rays, and he put the wrong name on it, and he could have caught his cancer a lot sooner if it wasn't for Logan's mistake. And he was put into the first trap that John ever did, that we see at the beginning, or that we see through this movie. And Logan was the guy in the bucket who didn't wake up. And then John came out and helped him and said he didn't deserve to die for an honest mistake. And he helped him with his like PTSD from like the war, because he was tortured there, Logan, and everything. And he's basically been an accomplice with John from the very beginning. And then he set this trap up to do the same trap as John 10 years later, and to set up Halloran for all the murderers he's let go. And people died because of Halloran, because of letting criminals go, and Edgar Munson killed Logan's wife. So it's basically revenge. And then just the kill at the end here, it looks so good. Even though, of course, it's all CGI, like, of course, it looks so good still. Like, when the lasers just find, when he's admitting everything, Halloran, and he's like, yeah, I did this, people died because of me, like, blah, blah, blah. All of that. And then Logan gets up after we see all the flashback stuff that I just said. And then Logan just says, like, Edgar killed my wife and stuff. And then it just says, like, yeah, no, wait, like, John, like, traps always have a choice. He's like, there's got to be a way out. He says, like, yeah, you have a choice. You can scream or you don't scream. And he walks away, and it's like game over. And then the fucking thing comes down the lasers and chops this dude's face into so many sections that then the collar releases and he hits his knees and his head blooms like a flower on a spring morning. Like, it looks so cool. Like, I love that kill here. Like, what a cool fucking kill. Like, it looks mad good. Like, awesome. How often do you see laser cutters cut somebody's face into like 18 sections or whatever the hell it is? A lot of sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like 6, 7 at least. Awesome. So my whole thing though with Eleanor, Logan recorded Halloran's whole thing of saying people died because of me and all that stuff to frame Halloran, so nobody suspects Logan of doing this whole game. And he says that Eleanor will provide his alibi. That's a lot of faith to put in somebody with a secret this big. Are you serious? Like, what if things don't work out between them? What if she gets pissy? What if she wants money to blackmail him? Like, anything. She could be like, yo, this guy was the guy who killed all the people in that fake Jigsaw trap, the copycat. Like, are you serious? Like, he's leaving that to chance. He's leaving all of his life to chance on some girl that he met on the dark web? Like Jigsaw forum or something like that? Is that where they met? But that's like how she's into Jigsaw. I don't know how she's fully involved with this. They never really explain that. But that's way too much trust to put into somebody. Like, anyone, really. Like, I mean, just the fact that John did it with Amanda is stupid. And it shows, because look how it turned out with Amanda. Same with Hoffman. Like, it doesn't turn out well. Like, ever. Apparently, it worked out great for 10 years with this guy and John, because he knew him. Like, all this time, he was there, like I said, apparently. We never saw him, I assure you. He was there. But that's my whole thing with Eleanor. Like, she's really going to keep that alibi forever? They're young. Like, they got a long life probably ahead of them, unless something happens to them. I don't know. That just does not work for me at all. Like, if it was Logan just by himself, fine. But the whole thing with Eleanor and her being the alibi, and no. Like, does not work for me at all. Oh, and that's right. Logan doesn't say game over and slams the door. He says, I speak for the dead. Slams that door. So, it's cool. It's fine. Like, it's decent. Like, if it had to exist, that it's fine for what it is. It's nowhere near the original 7 movies for me. And like I said in the last video, I wish that they did just stop with the final chapter, with the 7th movie. Because this and Spiral did not have to exist. But since it does, it's a fun time. It's a good movie. And I'm not doing Spiral, like, after this. Like, so, like, maybe tomorrow or the next day. Because, I don't know, I am interested to rewatch it, but at the same time, I'm not. So, we'll see. But wherever you guys are from, hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, or night. And I will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.